1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.8. That's not motivation. That's not a quote. That's mathematics. And it means that one decision you make today, the smallest possible decision, multiplies you by 37 over the next year. Most people never use this. Here's exactly why. You've set the goal you started, you stopped again. Not because you're weak, because you're using the wrong unit of measurement. Every person who failed a habit was measuring in weeks and months. The 1% system measures in days, in single actions. The unit of change isn't a goal, it's a repetition. You don't fail habits because you lack discipline. You fail because you're waiting for a feeling that never comes. So what exactly is the 1%, and why does it compound the way it does? Here is the math that changes everything. 1.01 to the power of 365 equals 37.8. 0.99 to the power of 365 equals 0.03. Same starting point, 1% difference in daily effort. 1 year later, one person is 37 times better. The other has almost completely erased himself. Not from dramatic failure, from slightly, barely showing up less. The tragedy isn't people who give up dramatically. It's people who slightly, quietly, consistently show up a little less. That's 0.99, and it's invisible until it's too late. But here's what nobody explains about 1.01. The graph doesn't move for a long time. Why? You've been working, doing everything right, and nothing is happening. This is not failure. This has a name. Imagine a room at minus 25 degrees. You start heating it minus 20, minus 15, minus 5. The ice cube sits there, unchanged. Minus 2, minus 1, 0. Still nothing. Plus 1 degree, and everything melts. James Clear calls this the Plateau of Latent Potential. Every degree before melting point was not wasted. It was stored. So the question isn't whether 1% works. It does. The question is, what exactly are you applying it to? Every team in the Super Bowl has the same goal. Win, only one team does. So goals don't separate winners from losers. Clear's insight is ruthless. You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. A goal is a direction. A system is the engine. And if your engine is broken, the most beautiful destination does nothing. Goals create a binary trap. Hit it relief, miss it shame. Either way, the behavior stops. Systems have no finish line. They just keep running. But what builds a system? The 1% formula needs a foundation. And that foundation isn't what you do. It's who you think you are. Most people try to change their behavior. Clear says that's the wrong layer entirely. There are 3 layers to who you are. The outside layer, outcomes, what you get. The middle layer, processes, what you do. The deepest layer, identity, who you believe you are. Almost every self-help book works on the outside 2 layers. Atomic Habits works on the 3rd. The smoker who says, I'm trying to quit, and the smoker who says, I don't smoke, same cigarette offer, completely different answer. One has a goal, the other has an identity. And here's how you build that identity, not with decisions. With votes, tiny, repeated 1% votes. Every habit runs on a loop. Cue, craving, response, reward. Understand this loop, you control behavior. Break it anywhere the habit dies. Clear built 4 laws from this loop. To build a good habit, make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. To destroy a bad habit, invert every single law. Make it invisible, make it unattractive, make it hard, make it unsatisfying. That's the entire operating system. Most people fight willpower against a cue. The system removes the cue entirely. You can't lose a fight you don't have to fight. The loop is the engine, but the environment is the fuel. Here's what that means. Willpower is not a strategy, it's a resource. And it runs out every single day. The 1% system doesn't rely on willpower at all. Clear's rule: design your environment before you need the habit. Book on the pillow, you will read tonight. Running shoes at the door, you will run tomorrow. Guitar on the stand, you will practice. The cue is physical. The behavior follows automatically. You're not fighting yourself. You're setting a trap for the right behavior. Every object in your environment is either a cue for a good habit or a cue for a bad one. Nothing is neutral. Your environment is always designing you. The question is, are you doing it on purpose? Environment sets the stage, but there's one rule that keeps the whole system from collapsing. It's about what happens when you miss. Every person who builds lasting habits misses days. Every single one. This is not a problem. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is a new habit. The rule is brutal in its simplicity. Never miss twice. Miss Monday, show up Tuesday, no matter what. A bad workout happened. A bad writing session counted. 2 minutes of meditation still trained your brain. The goal is not perfection. The goal is an unbroken second day. It's not the missed day that kills habits. It's the story you tell yourself after. The streak is broken, so it doesn't matter anymore. That story is the actual enemy. So you have the loop, the environment, the identity, the rule. Now, how does all of this connect back to 37.8? Let's go back to 1.01, to the power of 365. Because now you understand what each of those 365 days actually contains. Day 1, you design one cue in your environment. Day 7, the habit loop fires automatically. Day 30, you don't recognize the behavior as effort anymore. Day 90, you start to vote for a new identity. Day 180, the plateau breaks. Day 365, 37.8. Not 37.8% better, 37.8 times who you were. The formula was never about a number. It was a map of what 1 year of 1% actually looks like from the inside. Every mechanism we discussed, that's 1% compounding. But there's a final piece, the one that separates people who understand this from people who actually live it. Here is the final piece, and it's the most uncomfortable one. The 1% system has no neutral setting. Right now, today, you are either at 1.01 or 0.99. There is no holding still, no pause button, no maintenance mode. The person who takes a break from their system is running 0.99. Quietly, invisibly, compounding in the wrong direction. This isn't pressure, this is freedom. Because 1.01 is available right now, in the next 5 minutes. You don't need a perfect plan, a Monday morning, a clean slate. You need 1 rep, 1 vote, 1%. And what does that 1% look like in the final equation? We started with a formula. 1.0, 1 to the power of 365, equals 37.8. Now you know what that formula actually means. It means every habit loop that fires automatically is 1%. Every cue you place deliberately in your environment is 1%. Every time you don't miss twice, that's 1%. Every vote you cast for who you're becoming, 1%. 37.8 isn't a promise. It's the accumulated weight of ordinary days, done slightly better. The people around you who seem to have transformed overnight. They didn't, they just crossed their melting point. Their ice cube finally reached +1 degree. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not missing some gene for discipline. You are just possibly running at 0.99 without knowing it. And that can change in the next 5 minutes. 1% today. The math will handle the rest.